Hey everybody, thanks for tuning back in. We hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube this week, and I just wanted to give a shout out, say thank you to the early adopters and to the new subscribers and everyone in between that have made this possible. Thank you very much. I wanted to celebrate today by talking about pain.
Pain and the pain experience
Is in the middle of a radical paradigm shift. And the more we understand how it works, the more it creates this interesting complexity in the clinic with regard to how we treat it, how we talk about it, how we understand it. There are three things that I want you to understand today about pain. The first important point is that pain and soft tissue damage aren't always related. In fact, sometimes it feels like they're rarely related. So our experience with pain doesn't necessarily tie to the amount of soft tissue damage or even indicate that we have any soft tissue damage in some cases, that our body may be absolutely fine and safe, but we still have pain, which is giving us some message. So the question is always, what is the message? What's the warning sign? That leads to point number two, which is that there are many things that can influence our pain. Because our brain is in charge of all pain, whether we've broken our ankle just now or whether we've had pain for 10 years, our brain decides when we have pain and when we don't. So we know that physical inputs can create pain, but also psychosocial inputs can create pain. Our psychology and the social situations that we find ourselves in, stress, even like a client this morning who moved her life across the country from the East Coast to Boulder. The stress of that, even if a lot of it's really positive, can still be enough to generate pain in our body. We of course have to consider the stress of training and exercise when we talk about pain, but then there are also the other life stressors like work, family, money. These things play into our nervous system and can affect our pain experience. And point number three is that pain works this way, whether it's chronic and has been there for 10 years or whether it just started yesterday. We all have an assumption that because we went to pick up that heavy box and our back flared up, that we must have herniated a disc or we must have hurt our body in some way. And that's not always the case. The more we understand about pain, the more we know that pain itself is an alarm system. It's like an early warning sign to tell us that we might hurt ourselves if we continue doing that thing. So if we have pain in the moment lifting something heavy, it's not always the fact that we hurt ourselves, but our nervous system is telling us, hey man, that's too heavy, you're not in the right position, shut that down. Or you're under so much stress at work, or you haven't been sleeping or eating well, or all of those things, and your nervous system is saying, this is not a great time to pick up that box, why don't you come back and pick it up another time? So I think the important take home here is that we can have pain before we actually hurt ourselves. For a lot of us, that can bring down the fear around the fact that our bodies are injured, but it's also really important to know that this plays out in the acute pain experience, early on in the pain process, that it's not just physical stresses that can create discomfort in our body, that there are other factors that play in. So I encourage my clients all the time to look back to when their pain started, if it was a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and ask themselves, was there some unusual physical stress at that time? Were you overtraining? Was there something that happened? Was there some trauma, some fall? In many cases, there wasn't. There wasn't an obvious physical trigger. If you're one of those people, the next step is to say, what else is going on in my life at that time when the pain flared up? And if there were big emotions, if there were big stresses, if it was a significant time of change in your life, it's really important to recognize that and to focus on that as something that could be influencing your pain experience. There's a lot more to talk about in this regard. Those are the three things I wanted to share today. Let's continue the conversation, continue to grow the channel. Thank you again for your support, and I look forward to seeing you next time.